Okay, we haven't done one of these in a while.
Man.
It's been a little bit. We kind of gave everybody the summer off, right?
Sure.
But a lot of change since last time we were together.
Yeah.
I mean, we've spoken a lot over the course of the last 2 months because we have an announcement to make about a great event that we're going to walk into. So, while we've been discussing, we haven't recorded in a while.
No, we've been meeting once a week.
I know.
Zooms.
Well, that's just, that doesn't count the text messages exchange, but a lot of change. And first and foremost, I have to say, one of the things, change is to be acknowledged, embraced, celebrated, all that stuff, right? So we have to acknowledge that JT, one of the owners at Philadelphia Mortgage and our marketing guru, became a father over the
Man,
summer for the second time.
He looks a lot more awake than I was when I became a father for the second time.
So that's an incredible accomplishment for him this summer. Big changes for him.
Congrats.
And there's all kinds of change. There's change in the market, big changes in the market. And, since, I am a mortgage lender, I'll say that, well overdue changes in interest rates. The Fed made a change yesterday.
Yep.
It was a quarter, which I'm happy with. I'm glad it wasn't more than a quarter because I know as agents, you probably feel this too. I would rather ease into a market than fall headfirst into a market like we did a few years ago and totally disrupted the market for several years.
Yeah.
Right. So change. You guys are going through some changes. I've picked up little pieces of information and things like that. Congratulations. Javier is now, not that he hasn't always been an educator, but he is educating in a school district or in a school system now. Tell us a little bit about that and how that's going for you.
So that has been an awakening. I got to say it. I mean, from the actual awakening at 5:30 in the morning.
It was a calling realized as well.
Yeah. So I've been working with the president of Archbishop Wood, John Ironelli. I serve with him on our board of directors with Bucks County Association of Realtors. And during his travel of becoming president, he reached out to me and asked, he was like, hey, would you want to take on this role? Because previously, last year, I attended a career day. And I did 4 classes. And during those 4 classes, obviously, anything that we do it to the best of our ability. And the feedback from that was tremendous. A lot of the kids were like, this guy he's awesome, right? And of course, I appreciated it. But then he took it a step further and was like, hey, would you want to teach this course entirely? And I was like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because we do so much in our regular day. And we sat down and went over all the details. And basically, I'm there Monday through Friday. In the entire year, I teach period 1 and period 2. My classes consist of right around like 30 kids each class. And it has been a whirlwind. The first week, obviously, I'm waking up at 5:30 to get to school at 7 o'clock. I wake up, I do a little work, have a coffee, and of course, I watch Squawk Box, check out the stocks in the morning. And to be able to see the kids and see how excited they are first thing in the morning, to me, it challenges me. And it pushes me because I create the presentation slides a day before based off of what happened the day prior, right? So if we're going over SMART goals, okay? And the SMART goals is specific, all right? It's going to be measurability.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be how is it achievable? Okay, is it relevant? And is it time bound? And during the presentation of having the kids go through explaining SMART goals for themselves, they had a hard time with measuring. And obviously my next day was going to go into moving past SMART goals. And I realized that evening, I was like, wait a minute. Some of the kids had a hard time explaining how to measure their goals. So I custom curated the next day's presentation all about measurability, how important it is, why you need it, why people avoid it. And we talked a lot about accountability. So it's really it's a living, breathing thing. It's not just like, okay, here's the curriculum, read it, and then do homework and go home.
Yep.
It's just like
what's that old saying? What can't be measured can't be improved, or something like that. I forget exactly what that.
That's a great saying.
Is.
And I have a guy, Terrence Clark. He attends our role play. He actually runs our Express Offers program with EXP. And what he stated, and I used his quote, is you cannot scale something that you're not measuring. and I put that on the board, and kids love my sayings. I don't know why, but they love when I write sayings on the board and they repeat it. So this has been an experience, but it's pushing me to be a better educator, to make sure that I'm communicating, but also I'm getting them engaged. And that was told to me like, hey, first, second period, it's early.
5:30.
Yeah. They may not be as all the way there as you want them to be. And I took that as a challenge.
You might need 2 cups of coffee.
Correct. So it's something that for me is a challenge. And I can guarantee you right now, one of my sayings, my first sayings was, we did not choose average. We chose, and then the class all says it together, greatness. And now it's like, it's insane.
You got
Well,
them.
the fascinating thing about that is that, and maybe it's my kids have been out of high school for a while, but finally moving towards skill sets.
Yeah.
I mean, you may as well be teaching them a different language,
Yeah.
right? But I'm sure they love the sayings that you put up because it's not things that most of them have ever heard before.
Correct.
Right? It's like it's new to them.
Yeah.
But necessary.
100%.
So that's the fascinating
Yeah, I
part.
just
Well,
wanna say something.
congratulations. They couldn't have
Yeah.
picked a better person.
It's
Thank you.
you say your kids are out of high school. My kids are actually in high school. And I'm thinking about the type of people that I want educating my children
Yeah.
with experience, with something you're about to show them that they need to learn that I didn't learn in high school. It was like economics and that was it.
Yeah.
But more importantly, there are certain teachers that show up every day to give the curriculum and they move on. What I love about every time I've talked to you, every time I've heard from you, every time that we have a conversation, your passion for impacting people is just infectious.
Thank you, man.
And the fact that you're doing it at 5:30 in the morning for high school, they're high school, right?
Seniors, yes.
They're seniors in high school who are about to literally enter a world where maybe their knowledge of real estate could get them ahead of just about anybody that they're going
Yes.
to enter the world with.
Asset wise, everyone.
Every
They're
single
ahead of
person.
everyone.
Man, did I wish I would have learned about real estate knowledge.
Same.
But more importantly, man, like you're going to teach them real estate knowledge, but they're only going to listen to you because of the magnet that you are for the message you're giving them. So everybody could teach them
Appreciate
something,
that.
man. But man, I'm listening to you talk about it. I'm thinking about myself in high
Yeah.
school. I'm thinking about the fact that my daughter's in 11th grade. And if next year she has someone teaching her like you are, man, my kid's going to be good. So
Thank you very
really
much.
great stuff, man. Really
I'm
good
excited
stuff.
for our back to school night.
Yeah, there you
man.
go.
I wasn't told
back to
until a
school
couple of
night.
days ago that I have to attend because obviously only there for period 1 and period 2. You're like, okay, I'm not a full-time teacher, so I get to skip. No, it was like, hey, we need you there, and I cannot wait to meet the parents.
Do you mind if I go off
fine.
track for 1 second?
Hey, you can
Because
do whatever
it
you
is
want.
entertaining. So I'm going to go
gotta-
back
you do
because you
whatever
said
you
back
want.
to school night, and
Yeah.
we just had back to school night for my daughter, and my wife couldn't go, but I went by myself. And these high schools are big,
Yeah.
and you can get lost. So my daughter put together a map. She
Oh,
drew a
nice.
map for me to go to get to all of her classes. And I was like, man, I'm confident. I walk into that school as confident as can be because I got the map.
Yeah.
And the teacher says, are you good? I'm like, I'm good. 10 minutes later,
Not
completely
good.
lost.
Completely.
I went upstairs to go to a class that was on the first floor because that's where I was directed. So
Yeah.
good luck
Yeah.
at back to school night. I hope you actually make it to the classroom. But
Yeah.
man,
I'm gonna be in there early. I guarantee you that.
the one
20
thing I do
minutes
want to say
early.
about that is meeting the parents. meeting the teachers
Yeah.
and knowing when I came home and I'm like, I'm really happy my kids got
Yeah.
that teacher.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
what you're going to
excited
get.
about that. I really want to make an impression and making sure that not only are they in good hands, but we're shaping them up for the real world.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I'm able to bring is because a lot of the children may or may not choose college as their final destination outside of school, higher education. And the one thing I've learned is my wife went to Temple, and she went to Penn State. And well, she did go to Temple first, and then she went to Penn State and graduated. I only went to Bucks County Community College. I got my associate's degree. And once I got my associate's degree, I started to get in sales. And obviously, sales have taken me to different areas of my life. But the one thing we keep constant in our household is that it's like the tale of two cities. Is we have collegiate and we have entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And they both are correct, depending on where you are with this. And this is something that I love that we're doing here today when it comes to realtors,
Yeah.
because we have this opportunity to really showcase to them, hey, no matter where you started, when it comes down to motivation, when it comes down to guidance, when it comes down to those SMART goals, you have to have it.
Yeah.
And you can go to college. It doesn't make you worse or
Well,
better
you,
than
you
anyone
could go
else.
to college and still not get
I
it.
was getting ready to say.
I went to school for hotel and restaurant management.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But what I learned in college 20 years later, real estate, not much learned that I used when I was in college anyway.
But that actually answers a lot, because when we're hearing your emphasis on experience, it goes
It's
right.
everything about
Okay,
my
so
life.
now I
it's my
get
whole
it.
life. Oh, it absolutely is.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
awesome.
good
So we
piece.
touch base on your change. You have changed in your life too. I mean, I'm watching your business, your core business, I guess, is real estate, but also your other core business, your other full-time job, coaching, teaching, training with realtors. I mean, your audience is just blowing up.
It's been a whirlwind. I don't know, like 20 years in real estate, I thought my passion for my whole life was going to be helping those buyers, that being in their lives and helping those buyers. And it's like a lightning bolt when you get to guide somebody through that experience. But the moment I got the chance to sit down in front of a group of agents and show them a positive way, where, especially in the world of buyers, it can be frustrating, it can be time consuming, it can get exhausting. The moment I did that, and then, 10 agents turned into in a group of 100 agents. And then just 3 years later, it's the same as you. Like, we have to find things that energize us and excite us and keep us going. And those things typically help us thrive if we're genuine about what we want to do. So 3 years ago, I just sat down with the wife and I said, do you remember when we left the restaurant business and got into real estate and we went through that big moment we were going to change? I was like, I think this is a time where I'm going to start helping agents and just being genuine about what I love and focus on what we love.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. It's been a ride that's like, I'm excited to watch where we can go. And most importantly, I went from helping one agent, and now we have a group of agents that meet, and every single one of them is learning how they can love their life, giving people the experience.
Well,
they
I mean, your
amazing.
testimonial is your success. I mean, when you see that blow up, you know that there's a reason, there's a need for it, there's there's a demand for it.
Yeah.
It's from the heart too.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it's
what I'm
very
learning,
important.
right? That the reason why we're doing this event that we're going to do, like, we put together 3 people that literally say, how can we find a way to impact other agents?
Right.
It's not finding a way to get more deals. We're not going to get more deals by having the event we're having, but how can you genuinely go, you know what? People help me.
Yeah.
Somebody actually sat down with me and said, here's how you can help buyers in a way where you love your life. And now I'm sitting here going, everybody else needs to hear it. You want to hear how people can do their real estate business and actually not deal with the ups and downs and manicness of the real estate market.
Well, let's jump into
Yeah.
that for a second.
let's do it.
Let's talk a little bit
Dive all
about
the way
how
in.
this whole thing started.
Yes.
Yeah.
After having done the podcast for a while and had some really fascinating and entertaining, informative guests, I reached out to the two of you, as well as another agent that will be participating in this, Therese
Yeah.
Brittingham. She's a wonderful agent.
Shout out to Therese.
Yeah, so
Fantastic leader.
yeah, absolutely strong leader. So we decided, I asked you guys if you would be interested in putting together an event whereby we could help more with other agents to gain the level of professionalism, to gain the level of marketing expertise, to gain more skills. They have a lot of skills, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But to gain the skills that they need to take cyclicality out of the market, right? So real estate, mortgages, whether it's based on economic cycles or whatever it might be, supply, demand, how many houses or homes are listed in the market space, we tend to get in a rut. We're either here or we're here.
Yep.
We're either marketing and selling and closing, or we're spending the cash and taking a vacation, and then, we got to get started again, right?
Yep.
So it is cyclical.
Yeah.
And some of it is seasonal.
Not only that, but when we're here in terms of our success, we're typically down here in terms of our work and the effort that
The
it takes to get
balance.
back to you.
Absolutely.
So that when we're up here, we're like, oh, we're great. And then all of a sudden we get back down here. I'm like, well, I better get back up to work.
So many things that come to play
Yeah.
with the valve approach, right?
Yep.
With the lifter valve approach to our
Yeah.
business to keep the engine running.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all those things for sure. So we talked about conceptually an event and what we would like for it to look like and what we would like to ultimately gain from that for the people that are near and dear to us, our
Yeah,
clients and
correct.
our peers.
Community.
And we decided the best topic is the 4 seasons of a realtor's or any sales cycle, but
yeah.
specifically we're doing this for realtors.
Yep.
And there's just so many layers to that concept,
Yeah.
4 seasons. So you kind of orchestrated and authored that premise. So you
Yes,
jump in there and
yes.
tell us what we're talking about.
So one of the things about it is when you're thinking about the 4 seasons, you're thinking about the 12 months of the year, you're thinking about the beginning of the year all the way to the very end, and you have 4 seasons, right? Of course, you have winter, you have fall, you have summer, you have spring. And with every season come different challenges. And what we wrote down is basically the 4 seasons of experience is how you treat your clients from start to finish. But going into the marketing and making sure you're staying relevant, which I feel is very difficult, especially in this world of attention span. I mean, I think we're down to 3 seconds now for social media when it comes to grabbing someone's attention. And that's only going to get shorter and shorter. I mean, it's literally instant right now, especially with the TikTok. And obviously that deal has worked itself out. So TikTok is here to stay.
Yeah.
So understanding this model and going into this, you have to have that marketing that stays consistent throughout the year. And when it also comes to lead generation, when you spoke about cyclicality, you spoke about it in a way that ups and downs. And agents necessarily don't see that before they enter our business. They only see the ups.
Yep.
The downs, no one celebrates.
Yep.
Right? We take our losses and we deal with our stuff privately. It's very rare when I see people post about their losses unless they're trying to sell a product or a service. And they're like, hey, this is what I did to fail and here's what I did to get better.
Which, by the way, erodes their authenticity when they only show the sunny side of the street.
Yeah,
right?
100%. But it's more or less of the barrier to entry in our industry is very low. So you can become an agent just by passing your exam and becoming a realtor just by paying your dues. However, you don't necessarily understand what it takes to stay consistent
Yes.
throughout the entire year. And the last thing is the 4 seasons of professionalism. Professionalism is a big deal. And I find this really difficult, especially with newer agents. Agents who are already seasoned, they've been in the industry for quite a while, they have seen success on a plateau or maybe going up and really not coming down, they kind of lax with professionalism because they found their tribe, they found their goal, and that's fine. I totally agree with agents who come in and dress down and you don't have to always have a suit on and be professional, but it comes with a sense of how are you handling the client? Are you just sending over a DocuSign and just saying, hey, send it back? Or are you sitting down with them and going over the contract and making sure they understand it? Are you following the code of ethics?
Yep.
Right? There is a bigger issue down in Harrisburg that we always hear agents from across our state of Pennsylvania, and they always talk about that, hey, this agent went into my house and scheduled a showing and they made some marketing videos and they never got permission and they never told me about it. Or people just doing things that are not necessarily within the bounds of our ethics. And as realtors, we have a code of ethics, which is very, very important. So the 4 seasons really talks about how you're going to market your experience that you're giving to your clients, which I know, Adam, you really, really take that into a different mindset when it comes to experience. And obviously now we know you have a lot of experience in that because you went to college for that. Yeah. But the lead generation aspect, I feel, is very important as well because agents, we get into this industry and we necessarily don't know how to lead generate. We feel that we have to default into paying a service to give us those leads. So 4 seasons touches on all those things: lead generation, marketing, professionalism, and also experience.
So I feel like when we came up the term 4 seasons, when we were in our meeting, for me, a light bulb went off because the way I think about 4 seasons when we started with it, it was the 4 seasons of the year.
Yeah.
Because I know in general, when I started in real estate or when you talk to the consumer, they want to know, is it a good time to sell in the winter or the spring or the summer? And as agents, we talk about the seasons as being whether it's a good time to buy. In fact, I find so many agents say, whatever season it is, it's a good time. So it's a good time in the winter and it might not be for that person. So I'm thinking about the seasons with that. And now I'm thinking about the seasons of a career and the seasons of a market. Correct. And understanding that after 20 years, the one thing I wish I would have had is not the manicness that you can have with the ups and downs of success and then finding out months later you wish you kept staying on it. So the consistency of wanting to know that my seasons of my real estate career stayed as consistently flat as possible. I'd rather be flat than going up and down.
Correct.
And then somehow I thought of the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Right. And I go, wait, the 4 seasons, when you think about the 4 seasons as a hotel experience or as an experience to go to the 4 seasons, then it's my world. Then I'm thinking about, whoa, what is the Four Seasons experience that we can actually show these agents that they have to think outside the box for their buyers or sellers?
Correct.
And what is the Four Seasons experience that we can talk about that when the buyer leaves, we know that I always talk about Maya Angelou's quote. I say, Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said.
Mm-hmm.
People will forget what you did, but people will never, ever, ever forget how you made them feel. So in real estate, they're buying or selling the most expensive thing they've ever bought in their life. You're a part of that. You're guiding them. And I just think the experience mattered.
Correct.
And what I love, we talked about change. We talked about change in the real estate market. But what I love about the change that I'm seeing, that I'm like waking up at 5:30, like getting excited about the day, it's because real estate used to be community-based. It used to be you worked with the person that you trusted in real estate. Then it became transactional. It became transactional for the consumer because, well, I got to get to the house as fast as possible. So who's going to meet me fast? Or it became very, very transactional to the point of success in real estate is focused on transactions. I really, truly believe that the change that we're going to see in success and thriving in real estate are going to come from the agents who have built a foundation in their community. And instead of the short-term transactional relationship, it's going to be the long-term foundational relationship that's not going to be transactional when it starts. It may not even believe that they know you're a real estate agent when you start the relationship.
Yeah.
And so my thing about our event, I want to talk about the Four Seasons, the hotel experience. How can you make sure that this crazy statistic of 87% of buyers don't go back and use the same agent because they don't remember the person, they don't feel anything about them? How is that possible? So we're going to spend a ton of time in that event talking about how you can give epic experiences to your buyers or sellers to make sure they remember you.
Well, in addition to that, I'm seeing that to extrapolate on that, that quality of relationship and preparation and things like that. And I know you see it, and I'm hearing it and seeing is that the number of transactions of late that are falling through.
Yeah.
Buyer's remorse, the escape hatches that used to, previously were not utilized that often, that are utilized more and more. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at that and say, unless there's an extenuating circumstance, that sort of thing happens because the buyer wasn't prepared.
No, that's exactly right.
There was a consultation somewhere missing that explained this is the process for real estate, and this is the process for mortgage. So you need your lender and the realtor and the borrower on those consultations.
Mind if I go on this?
Yeah, jump in. This is perfect.
And I mean, I look at that and I'm like, when I see that this deal fell apart or that deal fell apart, or you read on social media that a buyer walked, or you have an actual buyer on social media that said, I didn't realize that this was going to cost me X. I'm like, how can you not realize?
Yeah.
Until you're 30 days into a transaction, the loan has been disclosed. It's been redisclosed. That's great. Those are e-signs. Not everybody reads their e-sign. The failure there is that no one went through those numbers to make sure you as a buyer were comfortable from the start.
Correct.
So in my 20 years in real estate, what I've learned is you have to pay attention to the small signs in the shift before they happen. And so we went through a market for 2020 to 2025, or up until about 6 months ago, where we were all seeing overpriced or things going over asking price, massive amounts of offers, and we were living in that world. The shift starts happening, and all of a sudden, that house that was on the market that was supposed to be on for 3 days is now on for 7 days. And so we start to see that days on market go up, or we start to see, wait a second, they got a deal that wasn't 10% over asking price. They actually sold for at asking price. That's a change in the market. Or wait a second, we have inspections, full rights of inspections. Guess what that means? That means both parties, the agents on both sides, are going to have to start negotiating again. You're going to have to start negotiating the list price with the seller when you sit down with a seller. You're going to have to start negotiating with a buyer's agent because guess what? You don't have 30 offers now. You're going to have to start going back to negotiating a price between buyer and seller. And then we're going to start negotiating inspections. And we have to actually make sure that all parties, for me, it's the buyers. The buyer needs to know before they even step foot in a house, they need 6 things. They need to get to know who they're working with. They need to build trust with who they're working with. They need to set expectations. So I should know what to expect when buying a home. Yes, I need to sit
100%.
down with somebody and go, what does an inspection look like? What does the market look like? I need to commit to what that looks like. I also need to make sure that I have the experience with the person that I can trust. But we don't do that in consultation.
And that goes right into the feeling of the co-op. Right.
Yes.
A lot of times when we do events or we're speaking and we're talking to agents and realtors alike, we're finding out that they have a bad experience with the agent across the table because the agent across the table did not do their due diligence. They did not take this serious enough because maybe that buyer is a friend of theirs and their friend is like, hey, let's go look for a house and here's a contract. And maybe you're the only contract on the table. So it gets accepted at that time because it works for that seller. And then the listing agent realizes, wait a minute, I'm literally carrying both sides of the fence here to get to the closing table.
Yep.
And oftentimes we're frustrated as listing agents because we have to carry the baton. But then when you scale back and realize that it's not just me experiencing this. This is a lot of listing agents experiencing this.
That's an important
And the
point.
consumer's affected by it.
Correct. And they don't know the difference.
They don't know.
Until they get to the point of, hey, I didn't know this was here. Hey, I didn't know this was here. And you're like, wait a minute. And then you're like, and it's too late at that point. They have had a bad experience, which is why there's a difference between the Four Seasons and Motel 6.
Well, that's another important point in having an event like
Yes.
this. Another reason to have an event like this is not only will it help to, and I don't want to use the word educate because realtors are educated.
Tons of notes. They have tons of notes.
Yes. But, to provide a venue at a classy place. It's going to be at a great place.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be centrally located in King of Prussia.
Yes.
It's a gorgeous facility. We're going to have some great food. We're going to have some great speakers. We're going to have some great topics.
Yes.
But and we'll deep dive on those topics a little bit further as we go through this. But the other thing is it's an opportunity to socialize.
Correct.
It's an opportunity to connect a little bit with someone who you may be sitting across the table from, you may be co-oping with.
Right.
I think that's as important as anything else. I mean, that is definitely part of the Four Seasons is expanding your network of people that
So
you do
true.
business with
Highlights
on a
the
more
quality.
personal level
Correct.
is benefits everyone.
My best year in real estate was 2020. If you think about it,
Wow.
in 2020, we were shut down for 3 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did most of the transactions I did in 2020 because when I wrote offers and there was 15 or 20 offers, it was the relationships I had with co-op relationships where they knew this is the person that's going to get me to the finish line. Agents don't pay attention to that. When we talk about this event, this has literally become my passion because I understand the benefit of having somebody on the other side of the table
Correct.
be an amazing professional. If I know and he knows that he is a buyer or a seller and I have a buyer and I write an offer, he knows, man, this is going to be great to work.
Correct.
I don't know any other industry where you have to wake up in the morning and go to work and I have to wake up and go to work
And not
and
know who
we
you're gonna
don't
work
know
with.
who we're going to be working with.
Correct.
I don't know. And this comes down to who's the lender that I'm going to be working with because maybe my buyer has chose a different lender and I'm going to be partnering and now I'm going to work today. And guess what? You and I are working for the same company or maybe the listing agent. That's a totally different person that I have to work with because if I'm not working well with that person or if that person's not, I don't want to, you know what? I heard something the other day on social media that said there's a massive difference between professional and experienced. And we have to stop because you're a professional the moment you get your license.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be experienced when it comes to your actually experience, but you have to learn from other people's experiences. So to become a professional, that's easy. I get my license and I'm technically a professional.
Yeah.
But
You mean that's not measured by gray hair?
not, it could be.
I kind of
more
always assumed it speaks for
coming
itself,
every
but-
day.
Yeah.
But
I
what
got
we're
it.
doing with this event is I really want to be able to share experience that I have with agents that need to learn about it, with my experience or the experience my clients have had. And we're not getting any money for this. I literally want to make our industry better. Literally,
Correct.
you are in Harrisburg.
Correct.
You are literally putting your time to make our industry better
Yes.
because I know fully that if I go to work tomorrow and it's a bunch of great individuals, make
Yeah.
it harder to get your license, make it more expensive.
Well, let's
Yeah.
let's tighten up on the event a little bit just by saying that it is not going to be free,
That's right.
and it's not going to be free not because any of us are making any money on it, but we're
Correct.
donating every single dime
Yep.
we're not even taking out the cost for food or coffee or anything like that's all being donated.
Correct.
All right. So every penny that we raise is going to go to a charitable cause. It's going to go to Alex's Lemonade. So the price of the ticket for all of the information that's going to be available, in terms of knowledge, in terms of giveaways, and we're going to have some things that we can have some drawings with and things like that. But the idea is to bring professionalism and leadership and understanding and all the things that, level the playing field of the Four Seasons, take some of the cyclicality out. Plus the money that we raise is going to Alex's Lemonade.
And I do want to say this. I've been to a lot of events. And a lot of events, what you do is you show up and you're sold throughout the event. You're going to get sold something or a product, or you're going to get this, or you're going to have 5 million sponsors that made the event. The reason why I love you, buddy, is that we're going to put this event together and we're going to make it all about bringing value to people. Like, it's going to be information, but
contribution.
You're going to help by the ticket price is going to go to Alex's Lemonade Stand, which Therese is just amazing leader in that for that foundation. But more importantly, you're going to get so much. Like, it's going to be so much value you're going to walk away with. He's got stuff to give away. I have stuff to offer people that you're not going to be paying for. So you're going to show up, and thanks to you, you're not going to be sold a million things. You're actually going to get the value we're looking to offer, man.
And it makes it a phenomenal point to understand that this, and you talked about this earlier, and it might have been during our session here, is that when you're seeing the trends and you're seeing the shift, you have to make decisions before the shift happens.
Yes.
And right now, this event is making that shift, right? We're shifting from deals, speed to lead, and trying to rush to the transaction. We're slowing down. Let's do experience, right? When we go into the Four Seasons Hotel, it's not, hey, how long you staying and go up, see ya. No, it's like, hey, what are your interests? What are the things you're doing? And they're having a conversation with you. It's a consultation, right? It's not a presentation, it's a consultation. And that's something that we're going to be talking about, as well. And I know you're going to dive deep into it. But for me, I want to see who shows up to this event, because it's going to identify the ones that are taking this career path seriously. And this is something, to me, is extremely important, especially for newer agents coming in, because we need to declare that this business is not all about the thrills and the money and the vanity. This is about community. This is about helping someone that could be first-generation home buyer. This is something that I find in my community a lot. I talk about it freely, that I came from a long line of perpetual renters. And real estate has unlocked all the dreams and has really given me more than just the purpose of sales. When I first got into sales, I was focused on accolades and numbers and trying to beat the next person and compete the next person. But now I look at it totally different. And that's something that I want for everyone, because when we looking from that perspective, we were in Harrisburg and we had a gentleman. He's our he's a representative, I believe, from Oregon. And he came out and he was speaking about how we differ from lawyers. He said, when you go into a courtroom, there's a winner and there's a loser. But for us realtors and in real estate, when you go in, you have two winners. You can go and compete against someone and go out later and see them at a networking event.
In fact, success is all about win-wins.
100%. And that's something that, to me, is like, okay, if we can just spark the mind of one or two or three agents that changes the way they see the industry, we've done our job. And if we can get more folks to adopt this way of thinking and change that mindset, listen, our industry, we had some woes last year, August 17th, I get it. And we needed that. But now we're entering into a new era where we're seeing professionalism first, money second. Matter of fact, money third or fourth. Professionalism, care, I mean, it's something that, to me, I find that the communities that we serve, they are better off if we're coming from contribution rather than saying, hey, I want to earn the most money I can off this transaction.
Right. I think when I think about the agent that I want to show up, I think when we do these events or when I do any of the stuff I do, I think about who is it that I want to show up at the event or in the coaching session or at the workshop. And I think for this, what we want are one of two people. We want agents who are sick and tired of the up and down of their career.
Yes.
That I personally would rather consistency than massive up and massive down. And I think there's so much in our business that comes from ups and downs that people are just sick of it.
Yeah.
So if you're kind of sick of the ups and downs and you want to find consistency, then this is the event to come to, because we're going to learn how to build foundational relationships
Yeah.
that won't give you the ups and downs of a transactional real estate career. The second person I want to have come, it's a new agent that I wished that I could look in the mirror and say, man, what kind of event do I wish I would have gone to if I was brand new?
That set the bar.
Who was I around? Who was I with? The people I was with when I started were transactional. They were transactional, successful agents, and they were not thinking about those people 5 to 10 years from now. They were thinking about those people 5 months from now.
Yes.
And I wished I would have had someone to say, from day one, everything you love about the restaurant world, take it to that, do it.
Correct.
That's what I want those agents to show up. And when they leave, I want them at the very least, I want them to hear your story. I want them to hear your story. I want them to hear my story. I want them to hear your story and the story of Therese and how she started and the people that we're going to have there at the event. So I want them to hear stories and experiences that will have them leaving, like I told you, positive and excited.
In a perfect world,
Yeah.
don't we want ourselves and every realtor to be in a position where they can, like some other businesses, project year over year what their income is going to be, regardless,
Correct.
regardless of the cyclicality of the market.
Correct.
That's right.
To make your effort and your systems dialed in and proven to the point where you know that a certain amount of activity will yield you a certain amount of benefit.
Yep.
Over time.
And knowing the seasons doesn't mean you're doing the same exact in the winter, the spring, the fall. If we're just breaking down the 4 seasons to annually, but when I sat down and did my goals every year, I understood that the last 3 years, my percentage of deals came in the spring, the fall, and the winter. So I prepared my life with my family.
Yes.
When am I going to go on vacation? How am I going to organize my life so there isn't manicness year over year? And then manicness to, oh my God, the last 5 years just went by insanely crazy. And it was all manic. And my kid's 5 years older. If I could expand a little bit in terms of what I want them to walk away with, I want them to understanding that we're not sitting here talking about doing 1 million transactions. I want them to look at those transactions. And when we say accountability on your time. And understanding that when you sit down and do a transaction, you're walking away from people. You're getting up from the dinner table, from family, friends. And so I want them to walk away to go, there is a way to do this insanely successfully and not miss moments of your life. And you can do that in spring, winter, fall, or winter, or you can do that over a 5-year period and not miss the moments of your life.
You're getting your time back. And let's dive into what they're going to receive.
Right.
In this event, because I think
don't register if you're looking for a pep rally.
Yeah, if you're looking for a pep rally, this is not for you.
This.
This is high level. This is the 4 seasons. We're not here to be like a Motel 6. We're not here. And again, there is a market for that, but this is not it. And we need to separate that. And I feel very strongly about that, which is why I go to Harrisburg and I sit down and we go through our PAR business meetings. I don't want agents to look into our industry and go into this industry thinking for a quick thrill, quick buck. So let's talk a little bit about what they're going to receive when they're at this event. Let's just dive right in.
Go ahead.
So one of the first things, and I'm going to just talk about what I'm going to provide, because there are a lot of realtors that are going to be attending this event. And I know in our meetings in Harrisburg, we get a couple hundred, maybe 300 people that come across the country, come across the state into our event, into our PAR business meetings. There are a small fraction of people in there that utilize Realtor Property Resource. Realtor Property Resource is by far the most powerful technology tool that we have as realtors. And I'm not just saying that. It's because when we compare it to anything else on the market, you're not finding anything that's close to Realtor's Property Resource, but yet the engagement across the country is only like 30%, 40%. Across our state is even less than that. So one of the things that I'm going to provide is a straight look into Realtor's Property Resource and giving you the understanding of how you can become a market expert by using the reports, by using the locator for foreclosures and pre-foreclosures, but also the script writer. A lot of agents have trouble translating market data. You see it. You see the market data, and you see when brokerages have these rallies, or they have these classes, and then everyone in the brokerage is posting the same thing. And you're like, okay, they must have just went through a training. And I respect that they're doing something.
So true.
But it's it's not high quality. And our communities deserve high quality. So for me,
Or sustainable.
correct. It's not sustainable, but you don't learn anything from it.
No.
Just by copying and pasting doesn't make you a market expert.
Yeah,
so
use this image.
100%. So one of the things that I'm going to make sure you walk away with is a full, thorough understanding of any market. You can type in a zip code. You can even do, you can even go in and draw, you can use the polygon to draw in a geographical area, because you touched on it, is that you don't need to sell 1 million transactions to make a good living. I train agents on identifying within your geographical location, maybe a number of streets, 2 or 3 or 4 streets. Focus on those, because those 2 or 3 or 4 streets maybe put out 45 deals a year. And if you look at the agents that dominate, most of the time, there is not one agent that dominates. So if you take that and you put a dome over top of it and start working your way in, understanding how to communicate with the folks, understanding what their top occupations are. And for those commercial agents out there, I want you to attend this event as well, because I'm going to give you a little bit of insight on how to understand trade site selection. And if you don't know what trade site selection is as a commercial agent, this is why you want to come to this event. Remember, this is high level. We're going to have live demonstrations. We're not just going to say, here's a couple of slides. No, I'm going to show you live so you can understand, and bring your laptops.
And we're going to have breakout for drill down.
Correct. Because this is something that is going to redefine events for our realtor space. So I want you all to remember, when you show up to this event, bring your laptop, bring a pen, bring a pad, bring a friend. Okay, not only is 100% of the proceeds going to a charitable donation, but we're there to showcase to you what high-level agents do on a regular basis. So yes, RPR, and then we're going to get into the content creation. And that's going to be a whole nother thing.
That's
I'm going to
the
say
fun
that.
part. That's the fun part.
Oh man, we're going to have the ring light. We're going to have some fun, but I'll talk a little bit about that later. But the RPR event, the RPR piece that I'm going to show you is live. And for those of you who want to leave with leads, you're going to leave with leads, meaning you give me a zip code, and write this down. If you give me a zip code, you pull up, I'm going to show you where the leads are immediately. So by the time you leave there, you have some action items to do immediately. Nothing that you got to go home and think about. It's going to be immediate and instantaneous. And that's high level.
This is literally what we're talking about, the shift in the market, though,
Yes.
in terms of getting back to, instead of getting into your community, when you can use this, you can find the community you want to be in,
Yeah.
and you can find all the transactions you ever wanted.
Yes.
And what we started to do was everybody got on social media. Everybody tried to help everybody in a wide area that they didn't need to hit. I don't need all of Bucks and Montgomery County. In
Yeah.
fact, if I did an ice cream truck and a Halloween thing and a Christmas thing in my 5-block radius, everybody's going to want to get to know me and get to work with me. What we're going to teach is, how do you get to know your community?
Correct.
But use the tools that they have, they don't even use.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me what's actually available to use that we don't know how to use, because what we get are education on slides.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is actually show them how they can use it and kind of blow their mind on what they could get from simply using the tools that are available to them. The social
100%.
media thing is a whole nother thing I do want to
Yeah.
do, because getting out of their comfort zones can't be do this by looking at a screen.
Yes.
It's going to be, no, join us. We're going to do this together. We're going to show
Yes.
you. We're going to give you something that you can say that'll be impactful to get you the ball moving. And when you
100%.
leave, you're going to have had the ball moving, not I'm going to go start it. No, I just did 3 things
Boom.
that are going to get me going.
Well, and like everything else, I mean, it's incumbent on professionals to become familiar with that product now.
Yes.
Because it's only going to get better. As AI evolves, that product is only going to get better.
And more necessary.
It's only going to become more powerful.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Correct.
get in it, get on it, and get yourself,
There's a lot of data points on that.
right.
So I can speak to a little
Become
bit.
proficient in that product now. And
100%.
that leads me to the timing. I mean, we talked about a lot of dates. We started talking about this in May or June.
Yeah.
And we talked about a lot of opportunities and dates and things like that. And I think it worked out really, really well that we're doing this like in November.
Yep.
Early in November. So it gives everyone an opportunity to take the information, digest, cogitate on it over the holidays, maybe take some time over Christmas to further define your objectives for
And
next year.
connect with your people.
I mean, this event should give people that attend should have a huge running start on 2026.
Well, it's good for a finisher. If you're trying to finish
Oh,
out that
absolutely.
fourth quarter with some action, come to this event, because you're going to have that opportunity.
100%.
You're going to
immediately.
get to
And-
juice. All right,
Oh
you're gonna have a
yeah,
little juice.
absolutely.
I'm going to
And-
actually give them some value from the buying side. So if we talk
Yeah,
about what
I
they're
want to
going to
hear
get.
this. Yeah, this
So
is beautiful.
One of the things that, first of all, 3 years ago, I started learning from the greatest people. You just give. Just try to give as much as you can, and that's how you grow. So I started to find ways of what I can give. So one of the things that people are going to walk away with from this event, to me, it's personal. It's a tracker that I think is going to be valuable to them to actually track the data that I think will really, truly show if they're successful. Because we can track, it's easy. Okay, I had a sale, it was this sale price, I made this much commission, and that's a deal. But I'm going to give them a tracker that's going to track the most important asset they have in their life, which is their time. So they're going to have the ability so that when they work with a buyer, this is why it's great for November, because we need to start our business planning now for next year.
Yes.
Well, business planning starts with what are my goals and how much do I want to make? But really, it comes down all the way from over here of how much I want to make down to how many people do I need to speak with? How many appointments do I need to make? I'm going to give them a tracker that's going to allow them to track their appointments set, their appointments met, their people that have hired them. So if I met with them, have they hired me? And then furthermore, when the buyer gets under contract, we're going to be able to track how many showings did you do? How many offers did you write? Where are your co-op relationships? So do you know who you've worked with? Do you know the lender that did the deal? Do you know the title company? And can you track every bit of every transaction? Most importantly, at the end of the year, starting, if you start now, you use this tracker in November. By the time you get to November of next year, you're going to know how many average homes you show per buyer. You're going to be able to sit down and go, wow, if I showed 40 homes to one buyer and then I showed only 5 homes to a buyer, are they the same? They're not the same. The time we spend matters. And so we're going to be able to know that and understand it and get better, but you can't start unless you start tracking. So they're going to get a tracker from me that they're going to be able to use, and it will change their life.
Again, what can be measured can be scaled.
That's exactly what you said.
But you're not getting this anywhere else.
No,
like what you just broke down to me is measurability. And for an agent to lower that anxiety and increase that confidence, like that's amazing. First of all, I mean, and again, I was looking for, because you got a nice transfer of thought when it comes to the buyer experience, and I love the way you position it. But the tracker, this is literally, I find that most agents have the biggest problem with tracking their goals and tracking their performance. Yep. But for you to provide this, again, priceless.
Well, not only that, for me, what does everybody say they get into real estate for? Well, I want to control my schedule.
Yeah,
almost
absolutely.
Every single person I know gets into real estate because they're sick of working for somebody else and they want to control their schedule.
Yeah.
So to me, I get into real estate because time matters to me. For me personally, it was the loss of my mother, being in the restaurant business, marrying my wife, and realizing all of this isn't guaranteed. So time became my most important asset. The problem is we get into real estate and nobody tracks their time.
Correct.
So you got in because of your time.
Yeah.
And we sit at settlements, and especially with buyers, because with buyers, our time is lost as agents, but we sit at settlements and we celebrate the settlement. We love going on social media and saying, look how great it is. These people bought a home with me.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you had to show them 30 homes or write 5 offers, they're not going to love the experience either, because guess what? Their most important asset is also their time. And so I think agents are going to come away from this going, wait a second, I can learn how to get my time back, work more efficiently and effectively by tracking my time so I can actually truly see if I'm successful, because a deal that takes me 40 hours and a deal that takes me 10 hours are not the same.
Correct.
And so at the end of this, I need them to really walk away understanding the time asset.
You know what Jeff Bezos' greatest contribution to society has been through Amazon is he gave people back their time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, whether you like the business model or, you know, you long for going to a mall or having that shopping experience or whatever it is, and that's great. There's opportunities to do that.
Yeah.
By and large, he gave people back the thing they wanted most, and that was their time.
You know what's crazy though? When I talk to buyer agents and they sit at these settlements and I go, well, how many homes did you show the buyer? First thing is they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. We looked at homes
wasn't
for a while.
tracking it.
But the way that it's amazing to me that the way that they translate the experience that the buyer had, because they think, I wake up in the morning, I show this buyer 8 homes on a Saturday, that buyer must love me. They must love that I'm putting a whole bunch of work into showing them 8 homes. And they sit at settlement thinking that their buyers love them, when naturally that buyer didn't want to waste all of that time. They didn't want to write 4 offers. And they actually look at the experience as frustrating and too time consuming, when the agent says, oh my God, look how much time I put in. I was there for them every hour of the day. I was running around for them. And the buyer didn't even look at it as positive. So we have to actually respect our time and our client's time before anything else.
That's interesting. So really the value
Experience.
is if you're an agent that can accomplish all that without taking as much time to do it, without taking as much of
It can be done.
of the buyer's time.
Yep.
Right. And so that comes down to what you're talking about, just working more efficiently. That comes from knowledge.
Having a plan.
That comes from events like this on how to access the tools that you need to execute the plan that you want to have to benefit your buyers the most.
And I wanna touch on something because we've mentioned this a number of times, but I want to re-emphasize this about the co-op, about your brand. And this is something that I feel most agents miss. The opportunity and the understanding of truly how to build your brand within the community of other realtors and real estate agents alike. Because when they do see your offer come over and they had a bad experience with you, it does affect, and this is the dirty little secret of our industry, unfortunately, is that if somebody had a bad experience and they know that you're not a professional, you're going to make this a worse experience for everyone. Even if your deal, obviously, if your deal is superior in all instances, then I get why they have to say yes, but they're dreading every moment of it. But if there's a deal or there is someone close enough to that deal, they will find a way to get it tweaked where you're edged out. So for buyers out there, when you're buying a home, your brand of your realtor matters.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And this is an event that's going to help you shift that mindset of how can you increase your brand, right? We spend money on products because of the brand image, not just the way the brand portrays themselves, but how does the brand make us feel? Right. So I just want to emphasize that because I know you're going to dive really deep into this and showcase to folks. And the way you do it with buyer's agents is very important. Many agents enter this industry as a buyer's agent. Right. So to have this experience with Adam, I feel most folks are going to change their way of thinking and really understand, wait a minute, I need to focus not just on the professionalism, but the experience with my buyer. But then looking at to the other agent, they have an opportunity now to increase their social currency, their brand. So when another agent sees your name come across, they're like, oh yeah, this is, and even if they say, hey, we need to be here with it in a counter offer kind of conversation, they're doing that because they really want to work with you because they know who you are and they know you're a high level agent.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going to disagree with you only because I don't think it's a dirty little secret. I don't think it's shady. I don't think it's dicey. I think
that's true.
Here's what I'm thinking about. What I'm thinking about is this. If my agent, who's my listing agent, sits down with me and says, I'm going to represent your interests and make sure that not only we get to the settlement table, but that we do it in a way that makes it easy and smooth for everybody. That's part of my job and your job as a listing agent. And so if I present an offer to you and you get another offer that isn't even as good as my offer, I'm going to just say as far off as saying my offer is nowhere near as good as another offer that listing agent gets.
Yeah.
But I present it professionally, organized. I do it in a way that makes the listing agent know this is someone who's going to make sure we get to the table. I have every ability to sit down with that seller and show them both offers and say, it's more than just the number, but we can get you that number. And I have experience with this. I can talk about the experience I've had with that agent. So I don't think it's dicey. I think it's exactly what the listing agents should always do. Yeah. And so the reason why 2020...
Well, it opens up the conversation where, when you have to have the conversation, if there is a problem, you always come to the table with a solution simultaneously.
Correct. But being able to talk about it freely is me saying dirty little secret. It's like, hey, buyers necessarily don't understand it, but it goes on. It's like, hey, I dealt with her before. I dealt with him before. I dealt with them before, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
Even though the number is good.
That's right.
I dealt with him, and it was great.
And it's going to happen.
Let's give him a counter. Let's say, hey, if you can get here, we can make this happen. And the buyers really don't understand that because they choose agents based off of proximity. Mm-hmm. They choose agents based off of social media likes and shares. Oh, yeah, I'm going to choose this agent because they have a great comedic way of presenting a property. But in our reality, this agent could be, someone that no one wants to work with because they don't know how to handle themselves. So
I've seen this.
I like that.
Man, you're not going to believe this. I did list one condo a couple of years ago. One time a couple of years ago. But it was eye-opening for me because when you get 10 offers on a listing and you're the one who your whole career has been writing offers and focusing so intentionally about understanding that the listing agent wants it in an organized, clean way, when you're getting offers and realizing this agent has no idea what they're doing and presenting an offer. But more importantly, man, what you hit home with right there is that I was freaking out about the consumer who's sitting at home thinking there's a chance they're going to get this listing and they're not going to get it because there's no faith that their agent has any skills.
Correct.
I am going to tell you something else I disagree with. I disagree with the whole industry about this. I don't love buyers just because I love buyers. I love them and I love the work that I do with them. And I love that I've found an efficient way because I do know that you can lose all of your life working with buyers in real estate. That if an agent learns how to work efficiently and effectively with buyers, you can do listings, you can do anything else because buyers are the hardest in time.
Yes.
But I also know the secret. I believe my experience with those buyers leads to referrals and repeat business.
Ooh.
I have a serious belief because when you start in real estate, they tell you listings last, right?
Wait a minute, yes.
Listings last. Listings last is the number one thing.
That's why I gotta show up.
I believe listings last is critical. You have to get listings.
Yes.
There's not an agent who survives that doesn't have an avenue of getting listings.
Yes.
But I think the listings are what bring the magnet of buyers. And when you help a buyer buy a home, that's where I believe the referrals come from. If you look back on a real estate business success and we go, where do referrals come from? When are people leaving that transaction and telling people about it and talking to people and saying you have to work with this person? I think the mass majority of referrals, or why do people come back? I don't think it's because of how they sold their home. I think it's because of the experience that these people have buying. So if you're a real estate agent that wants to actually build referrals and repeat business, you have to have buyers in your business. Now,
4 seasons. This is why you got to show up.
But I'm not saying listings don't matter.
No, I'm hearing you loud and
clear. You got to
clear.
get buyers. You have to have listings to get buyers.
Yeah.
But I believe that you need to put your effort into the buyer experience if you want to build a referral and repeat business. And
I would love, because Gary, you know what has just occurred with the interest rate world. So we know, and one of the things about RPR is it shows you what kind of market you're in. If you're in the seller's market, balanced market, or buyer's market, where do you think we're headed, Gary?
Well, I mean, that question can evolve on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
based on what I'm seeing with pre-approvals and activity, it really hasn't been so much interest rate based.
Yeah.
There are a lot of buyers that want to be in the market.
Yeah.
And they have become a little more desensitized to where we are or where we were interest rate wise. They've kind of come off of that, well, I'm going to get a 3% someday.
Yep.
Right. So they finally realize that is probably not going to happen anytime. And it shouldn't happen, because if that happens, that means our economy and our country's got a real problem.
Yep.
Right. We got to that level in interest rates because we were in a storm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. On a lot of levels. So the desensitization of the interest rate shock is one thing. And I feel like, to answer your question more specifically, I think we're on the cusp of a buyer's market as opposed to a seller's market, even though the sellers may not want to admit that yet. But I have seen deals that have had a pretty good balance to them.
That's right.
So it hasn't been jumping off a cliff on either side. There's been more give and take. You know, there's been, okay, so maybe now we have to negotiate out a home inspection whereby we didn't previously.
Yep.
Right.
But I'm seeing more give and take, a little bit less frustration, ironically, if that makes sense.
No, it is.
It seems like it's a little less frustrating now. And I think that maybe just the warm glow of normalcy for some realtors that, you know, feel that, okay, this feels a little better to me. It makes more sense.
Do you feel like you're seeing buyers, like I've had certain lists of buyers that have been through this for so long that they just assume, okay, that house went on the market, it's going to go for way over. And I think the great agents that are out there right now are noticing they have to communicate to the buyer, it's not what it was maybe even a year ago. There might be an opportunity here to actually see this house and you can get it for list price and you can get inspections instead of, man, I've had agents that are telling people, oh, you shouldn't go see it, it's going to sell for way more. And then all of a sudden on Tuesday, it's still on the market and they could have gotten it. So the successes I think that are coming with the buyers right now are the ones that are catching these properties before they lower the price.
Right.
So if you catch a listing that's been on the market 7 days, I think agents, if you're a buyer agent right now, you should be looking for the homes that have been on the market 5, 6, 7 days.
Yeah.
And thinking, you know what? Maybe my buyer can get it under asking price.
So would that also be homes that have survived, one, open house cycle.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah, one open house.
So you
and
got the
yes,
splash.
That's
I
right.
love that.
You didn't
I
get
love
an
that.
offer.
That's right.
Now let's write one.
So what happens though is this. What happens is these buyer agents or the agents that are out there looking for these buyers, they wait for the price to drop. So you got this house and you're like, okay, the price dropped. Well, what's going to happen when the price dropped? Now everybody might get back and interested in it. Instead of going to the listing agent, calling them, hey, what's going on? Do you have any other offers? I don't have any other offers. Great. I'm going to get you an offer. And usually what I'll hear is, yeah, I love that offer because I'm about to, we were thinking about dropping the price. Or, well, I want to get in there before they drop the price. And I don't think we're catching those opportunities.
Well, and that's critical
That's
right
what we're
now
saying.
because, and that's one of the reasons I'm glad we only got, like I said, the Fed does not cut mortgage
That's right.
rates.
Yeah.
The Fed funds rate
God
is
for
an
that.
indicator of the market flavor or the market trajectory, right?
Yeah. The music.
Yeah. So mortgage interest rates have fallen and will continue to fall. I'm glad it didn't fall precipitously
we have to talk about that.
because
Explain
we
that.
need to, we need that kind of market timing, right?
People don't get that.
Because otherwise, what's going to happen if mortgage interest rates go down by 50 basis points of rate, then there's going to be a tremendous amount of activity, not really based on the math, but
Nope.
based on
Perception.
the news,
That's right.
right?
Perception.
It's the hype. So the hyperbole will bring some buyers into the market, which is automatically going to put sellers in a more defensive position.
And this is the high level
That's exactly right. man.
information that we're speaking about.
That's
I just
right.
wanted just to jump in real quick to say that because this is the high level thought process that every realtor, every real estate agent needs to be focused on.
Yeah,
Please.
because they're reactionary.
it's a true anomaly that interest rates have maintained higher for longer.
Yes.
That's the Fed chairman's words, right? Higher interest rates have been higher for longer, and they've maintained that position. And even at that, real estate appreciation in most markets is on the rise. So for interest rates to be at a higher level than what we would like for them to be, or maybe what they should be based on purely on economics, the real estate prices haven't fallen off as a result of that. So I have a bigger concern with people that are predicting like a real estate bubble. It's not happening.
No, there's too much
You can't sit
position.
on the sidelines waiting for enormous price reductions because they haven't come. And as mortgage rates go down, they're not going to come.
This is literally, when you say this is exactly what we're trying to do, I think about this. The market shifting, I'm not worried about it. I wasn't worried. I had my best year in a year where buyer agents probably had most of their worst years.
Yeah.
So this whole event that we're doing, we're
Yeah.
talking about 4 seasons. We're literally talking about trying to make sure that you have a plan that either you've been through or someone that you've learned from has been through so that I'm in this market, I'm going to thrive. So I'm not afraid. Like, I agree with you wholeheartedly. A massive drop in interest rates would cause mass pandemonium to get back to 100 million offers and a million things, and we're going to have everybody going off after houses. But guess what? I know how I can thrive and survive, even if we get to mass craziness. And I also know how I'm going to thrive if we have high interest rates. And I also know how I can affect and bring value to my buyers or my clients in any of those situations. So that way I don't have to say, well, it's a bad interest rate market, so I'm not going to make it, or this is my reason for why I'm not thriving. I'm going to find consistency through my business so that I have a plan that is executable. And to be honest with you, the reason why I talk about this being relationship driven is because I believe the way to thrive in any market is to have foundational relationships in your community with your people, with your past clients that have nothing to do with real estate. So that way they come to you when it's a good time for them or a bad time for them. And I think that the shift in the market, you need to be skilled in knowing when to see the shifts, but also most agents don't know how to
And
thrive.
that requires a
So
skill set that they
before-
can pick up
yeah,
at this
That's
event.
exactly what we're
So
doing.
before we get into the social media aspect of this, I
Well,
just
the
want
fun
to
part,
touch
the
on.
scary
Yeah,
part.
I just want to touch on something really quickly. Is market translation. You guys were just discussing about how to understand when to go after a property,
Yep.
when to make these decisions with your buyer, and even
is
going in
RPR.
off the off market
Yeah.
opportunities. I mean, we've seen the big shift in our industry where a lot of brokerages have gotten some heat for the amount of pocket listings and things that they're doing within inside their own ecosystem. But as realtors and real estate agents alike, we have to be more creative. We have to be more understanding of market translation and how we're giving that translation to our clients and understanding like, hey, this property has been on the market longer than the median days on market. And this is why we have to go in at this price point. This is one of the things that RPR is going to be providing. We have an AI CMA tool, which is a price strategy that comes out on the 4th of November. So it'll be fresh when we bring this up and showcase it. But I really want to highlight the fact that we have the ability now to translate the market to our clients, buyers and sellers alike, before they make a decision of saying, hey, if you submit this offer at this price, expect this kind of reaction. Now, it's not going to be 100% accurate because nothing is, because you don't know until you do it. But this is what buyers in the market is looking for. A more educated professional, not someone that just says, hey, let's just throw it and see if it sticks. No, hey, let's do this based off of this.
Well,
It's gonna make
there's
it
another
much
reason you have
easier.
to have that, in my opinion, too.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that really concerns me, and you see it a lot on social media, and you see it when you talk to first-time home buyers, you'll see it with your high school students if you
Yeah.
bring the topic up, is the number of potential first-time home buyers that feel they have no shot,
Yep.
that feel they have
Yeah.
they have no pathway,
Yeah.
no roadmap to get to where they would like to be as a homeowner, and they get
So true.
defensive, and they already say they blame it on BlackRock or institutional buying of real estate, buying up all the properties. Some of it could be true, some of it is tinfoil, kind of conversation. But they talk about things like, I make X number of dollars and I can barely afford to pay my rent and feed myself. I'm never going to be, the
And the rental
boomers
rates are
ruined it
going
for
up.
everyone. That whole conversation. And most of the time, sometimes I jump into those conversations on social media, what have you, and I try to say that's not true. Your opinion, your perception of where the market is not reality. I do this every day. I help people buy homes every day, and I
Yeah.
can help you too if I know the details
Man.
of the specifics of
High
what
level.
you're trying to accomplish
High level.
and where you are now financially.
There's a gap
this is
in
high
there's a
level.
gap here. And I think if I circle around what we're trying to get around here is what you're saying is, one, we have to be educated as real estate professionals.
Know how to
We
pivot.
actually have to know the information that we need to know. The problem I think we have is there's a lot of agents that are out there that know a whole lot. They know a whole lot about their
Yes.
market. They could spit out data and statistics. But what they're not capable of doing when they leave this event, when we have to focus on is how are you communicating that information in a way that impacts the person that's in front of you?
Yes.
And so here's what we do. This is what everybody in life does. We have a bit of knowledge, we know something, and we're going to just spit that knowledge to somebody in the same way we do everybody. You want to be a great real estate professional, be able to express knowledge to somebody differently based on who they are. So if I know Gary loves numbers, if I know Gary is a personality who I get to know and I meet and I know that numbers matter to you, when I'm spitting out my statistics, my information that I know, I want to make sure that as a consumer, you're informed, you're telling them to do the right things, they're doing the right things. The impact I'm going to make on you is speaking to you with that information in the form of numbers. You might be a person that's
Visual.
impacted dramatically by the emotional impact of the purchase of the home. Your personality might be all different.
Yep.
And so if I speak to you about numbers and I start spitting numbers to you,
Yeah.
you're going to get lost. What we're going to teach in this event is how do you actually know the numbers? How do you translate the numbers in your system so that you can
Correct.
actually look at them, but not only know them, but how do you communicate to the person those numbers that you can find easily through your system? For me, it's the buyer experience. How are they going to be impacted when I meet with a buyer to do a consultation? It's different every single time because when I get to know the buyer, I'm going to give them information that's going to be specific to them. You have to learn that your meetings with your clients are personal,
Yeah.
they're individual. So
And I wanna touch on the social media aspect of
Yeah,
it
let's do
because
that.
I feel that many agents seek social media appreciation.
and that leads right into it. It's the same thing. It's
100%.
communicating knowledge through
Yes.
social media.
Like,
And
how
they gotta
do you
that.
do that? Like, how do you? I have an agent right now. We still have it in the draft format where she is reading the script that we've created about the market data and the zip code 19144. I believe that's Germantown, if I'm not mistaken. And she know who she is, and I'm excited because she is very fearful of being on camera. And what I have done was we've created an audio only, nothing but B-roll.
I love this.
But it's audio only of her explaining market data. And now when she was reading it, I custom created a script that kind of touches on and keeps your attention. And we made it out. She's excited about it. She even said that she has to get out of her comfort zone. And I want all the realtors and agents to know that when you attend this event, we're going to have a ring light. And I know it's going to be nervous. It's going to be scary. You're going to be nervous and it's going to be scary. However, you are going to get the ability to translate market data. So the people who are looking onto you to be their realtor,
That's right.
to be their real estate agent, to be their champion, they're going to feel confident because they're going to be able to go to your social media and see, because we're going to tell you how to set up your social media. A lot of people don't know this, but when you're Instagram, you need to have 3 pinned posts. Instagram give us this. They say, hey, make sure that you have the ability to pin post. And if you do that, and one of those pinned posts is you in front of a camera, explaining your specialty, explaining what you do, explaining how you're giving back to the community, you're going to find people who discover you. Because what do we do when we are looking up someone? We go to their social media, we're scrolling down, we're trying to figure them out to see if this is person from my tribe. Okay, we're going to be able to show you by having written scripts, something that's easy to do. And you're going to get in front of that ring light.
Get out of your comfort zone.
And you're going to get out of your comfort zone. And it's going to be private, but it's going to give you the ability to post that right away. Post that right away. And I cannot think of any event that has given us the ability to go and walk away with something that only benefits me, right? There's tons of events out there that, hey, use our hashtag, hey, buy our ticket, hey, showcase what you're doing with us. No, you have the ability to show up, get in front of a ring light, speak to your folks.
Get some coaching.
You're going to get some coaching, and we're going to be able to say, hey, you want to say this? You want to try this? Hey, try it one more time. Do it again. And once you get out of that comfort zone, you're unstoppable.
I'm super excited.
This is something that's going to really revolutionize the way we're seeing events. We're setting the standard, the 4-season standard right here. I love it.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be very exciting. And again, the date on that is the 6th.
Yes, November 6th.
November 6th.
2025.
We're going to come out with a lot more information and ticket prices and, the address for the venue and things like that. So this is the jumping off point for marketing for this. But we've been working on this for several months.
Yes.
And I think it's an event, a needs-based event. I think there's clearly need for it.
Do we tell them where it's going to be?
Sure.
It's
at the Ave in King of Prussia. It's centrally located. It's easy to get to. We have theater seating for some of the event. We have coffee area. We're going to have some breakout sessions. We really have, the main area, and then we have 3, potentially 4 different smaller venues that we could breakout
groups
and really drill down and get specific and get some real, in the weeds coaching and training and support.
My wife said something to me last night about people getting out of their comfort zones, and sometimes it's hard to do that. And was talking about social media.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really believe that, first of all, if you want to be in real estate, you're going to be meeting brand new people in weird places.
Correct.
You're going to be going into people's homes. You're going to be walking into homes that people are going to be considering buying. You got to get out of your comfort zone to be in different places. And so what we're going to talk about is getting out of your comfort zone, because I think it's necessary. My was like, well, maybe they won't be comfortable. I'm like, well, they have to be comfortable.
You can't grow without being. Well, you see, if you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, your growth is explosive. And we need more realtors and agents like in our communities that are looking at serving first, number one, okay? But then also translating what's going on. And this is why we look on
serving, because I'm getting the eye here. We're starting to run out of time. But I wanted to throw out, Therese isn't here today.
Yes.
But she is a hugely successful realtor. She's built the team I first met Therese probably 25 years ago. And she has done a fantastic job. She's built a thriving business. But you will find when you speak with her, and she'll convey the message at this event, that it's not about the money. Like, now she does what she does so that she can be philanthropic and change the lives of others through the work that she and her organization does. So that is that's the ultimate goal for all of us. I think it should be yes, we all want to be successful. We all want to make money. We all want to provide for our families and things like that. But at some point in time, at one of those 4 seasons in your career, you will get to the point where it's like, what can I do now to help others with the greatest impact? All right, and she's going to speak to that. So I'm excited about that as well.
Therese, by the way, when we were in Harrisburg, she was born in Hawaii.
I didn't know that.
I did know this. It's in the last 3 years, people have been coming back into my world. It's like puzzle pieces of people that have been in my world. Therese almost a decade ago was there for me personally in my business. I have watched and been from 45 minutes away, having her in my life as a mentor and as a leader, and watched her build an organization where they love her and she loves her people.
Yeah.
And so to have her a part of this event is almost like another puzzle piece coming back together. And she couldn't be with us today, but man, she's going to be such a great person to have with us in that event.
Yeah, Therese is awesome.
So there we have it.
Yeah.
November 6th.
We survived, yeah.
It's
Four
going to be
Seasons Realtor, guys.
It's going to be a great event. You're going to walk away with a ton of information, a ton of training. Like whatever you want to get, you'll be able to get and take it with you when you leave there.
Yeah. Value.
Make it happen.
Let's do it.
Four Seasons.
All right.